There are so many questions surrounding Sun Tzu Prime, whether if he's gonna be good or not. In the past couple of days, I've been plucking my hair, rewatching the videos over and over again, and I think I have pretty much figured how exactly Sun Tzu Prime is working. In this video, we are gonna be answering three major questions, all right? The first one is how exactly the Sun Tzu Prime is working, like how the true damage is working. Is it even showing in this video? Are we even seeing the true damage here? The second one is Sun Tzu Prime is going to replace Bai GLC? Is he better than Bai GLC or no? And then third question is William Wallace is being revived with Sun Tzu Prime? These are the major three questions that I'm going to be answering. But before this, I wanna congratulate Lilith. Yes, even though they released the commander details and even though they released the video of it, they also actually managed to hide the actual true nature of Sun Tzu Prime. I think Lilith is quite sick and tired of us figuring out the commander before it gets released so that we know exactly the commander is going to be good or not, right? The same example happened with Qin Shi Huang. I don't know if you guys watched the Qin Shi Huang video previously, but just with this 10-second video and just by one piece of information that he consumes rage to cast his skill, we pretty much managed to exactly know how Qin Shi Huang was working. Once the commander came out, and once we started doing some testing, it turned out the Qin Shi Huang was exactly the case. All right, so I think Lilith might be sick and tired of us, figuring out their product before it's getting released. I mean, we don't even see white number here. We don't even see our basic attack number here, which is weird. And there are not so much multiple targets, so we are not really sure if we are seeing true damage or not. They managed to hide some key information right here, which made things tremendously hard for me to calculate, but still we managed to reverse engineer some theories, and I think we are in a good place. All right, so let us start off with is the true damage is even showing in the video. So this theory came from my Discord channel. By the way, shout out to you guys cooking with me and sharing with a bunch of information right here. It helped tremendously to make this video. For example, Durian Juice said that he might have a feeling that the true damage is not even shown in the video. And there was another clue that came from Durian Juice himself as well, is that the Chinese version of the skill description actually says that the true damage deals up to 2 other target. There's a wording difference here, 2 other target. This means that his theory right here was maybe the true damage is not shown in the video at all, and then the true damage does not hit the primary target. Okay, if you go back to the skill description, in the English version, it does not say true other. It's just say up to 2 enemy troops in the fan. It's not 2 other. So we automatically assumed that the true damage was actually hitting the primary target, but it might not be the case. Okay, so here we are trying to debunk this theory. By the way, this video is not going to be about what is the best equipment, which we have actually calculated everything during our live streams. We know exactly which equipment to use, what pairing or what talent to use, right? But this video is not going to be about it. I decided to make a separate guide video later on. This video is only going to be answering those 3 major questions, okay? So in order to answer the first question, is the true damage is not shown in the video? So here in the video, we actually see 5 red numbers. So this is the 5 red numbers that we see here, right? So this first big red number right here, close to 20,000, it is Sun Tzu's active skill. And then the second big number that we see here is William Wallace's active skill. And then we have 3 small numbers on the primary target. All right, there's only 1 target and we are dueling. One of these 3 small numbers is actually William Wallace's active skill proccing. This skill that we're talking about. So when William Wallace is dueling, right, when he's getting attacked, he not only does a huge damage to a primary target, but he does extra small damage, 300 damage factor. So we know for sure that one of the number following the big red number must have been that William Wallace's extra small damage, which I think it's most likely the 1700, this number right here, 1735. Because this number is being followed up by William Wallace's active skill. So now the question is the first small number and then the last small number, is it true damage or instant proc damage? In order to prove that theory, let us just assume that both of these two numbers were the instant proc damage of Sun Tzu Prime. Sun Tzu Prime, when he activates his skill, he is gaining military sage, right? And when the military sage effect is active, you have 50% chance to do extra 400 damage factor of a smite damage with every basic attack. Okay, and then the military sage effect continues for 5 seconds. That means that this effect must proc like at least minimum one time. Again, it's at the end of the day, it is RNG, but it should proc at least one time in the duration of 5 seconds, because we have 5 seconds of window, right? With 50% chance. So it should proc one time, and it could potentially proc 2 times because we do have 3 seconds of cooldown window. So which means that if this skill, right, if this passive skill procs in the first turn, that means we still have 2 more seconds of window time that this skill might proc again. So that is the theory that we are assuming that this must have procced twice. Now, in order to prove this, I tried to reverse engineering what would be the 400 damage factor or 300 damage factor would look like in this scenario. Is it gonna be looking like these small red numbers or not? So I did some calculation. The first 1818 damage, right? This first red number, my calculation came into like 1901 damage. So it was pretty close. There might be a possibility that this damage was actually Sun Tzu's instant proc damage proccing 400 damage. Okay. The second 1735, which is this damage, this most likely been William Wallace's damage. And this damage, according to my calculation, it was 1824 or close to 25, which is not really close to 1735, which is shown in the video, but I think it is close enough. We might be kind of like safe to assume, okay, this might be possibly the 300 damage of William Wallace, right? Again, in this video, we have no idea what equipment the commanders are using, what talent the commander using, what formation, armament, or what buffs we are using. We have no idea. That information is not shown in here. But for sure that, you know, the 400 damage is hitting with close to 1900 and 300 damage is 1700 is like, okay, this could make sense, right? And then there comes the last red number, which is also, we are assuming it's the 400, right? We are also assuming the 400. But you might ask, yo, Bilegt, what's going on? Like here, the 400 hit 1818, but here we are hitting much, much harder, right? But it's supposed to be the same damage. That's not the case. I also tried to reverse engineer this, and my number came to close to like 2100, which is kind of close to the damage that we are shown here. The reason why that this second 400 damage factor hit harder than the first one, there's a very high possibility that it was because of some sort of talents and armaments. For example, in the smite talent tree, we do have the this talent. You have 30% chance that the damage will be increased by 10%, right? The smite damage. So that 400 might have been affected by this. And also we have this killing blow. When Sun Tzu is casting his skill, all of the rest of the follow-up smite damage is increased by 6%. Not to mention that there's like a inscription such as Toppler, right? When you are doing smite damage, taking 20% increased smite damage for the next 3 seconds. So all of these factors might have played, increasing the second 400 damage factor, which explains that the second 400 damage factor is hitting a little bit harder than the first one. But All this reverse engineering this number was not enough to prove that this wasn't true damage. It wasn't enough. So I again rewatched the video many times, and there's another second clue that we can see from the video. All right. So if you go back to the video, let me play the video here. First of all, pay very close attention to the green fan effect that we are seeing. Okay, the green fan effect is actually proccing 3 times. I'll show you. So here first, the Sun Tzu is casting his skill. Again, this is the green fan effect. This is indicating that Sun Tzu is casting his skill and then also trying to do the true damage that we have seen in the skill description, right? And both of the Sun Tzu and William Wallace does not have AoE, so only logical explanation of we are seeing this fan effect is purely because of the true damage. So here it procs 1 time, it lights up, there you go. And then the green light is dying down. And if you see here again, there, this exact moment, you can see that this green effect light up again. This indicates that Sun Tzu is casting another, that true damage effect, right? And if you go play the video again, there, the third turn, the fan shape, again, it light up another time. So the fan effect light up at least 3 times. Play this effect again. Here we might have seen the 4th light up effect, maybe, because we can see that dim light of again lighting up the fan effect. Fan shape that we see here is going off 3 to 4 times, and we can pretty much safely assume that this was because of the true damage. I mean, William Wallace does have AoE effect, right? Small damage to up to enemy 3 troops that is attacking this troop, right? But William Wallace does not have that fan shape effect. William Wallace is getting attacked by 2 targets right here. And we are casting our main skill, boom, right here. And then the small damage, but we do not see the fan effect. I'll play this again. Again, it's hitting. And then this fall. We do not see the fan effect. So this means that this fan effect we are seeing on this screen was for the true damage. It light up 3 or maybe even 4 times. Now the second clue that we can see here is, notice how the Sun Tzu's icon is lighting up. So the first light up means that Sun Tzu is to cast his skill. He reached 1000 rage, right? He lights up and then he casts his skill. There we go. He casts his skill. And this second light up was actually with the fan shape of true damage. Okay, he lights up again. All right, notice that. Now, if we slowly play the video, there, William Wallace is casting his skill, right? And then look at this. Slowly, again, Sun Tzu lights up. This is for the second fan effect. Wait. Another. Third here lights up 3 times. 4 times, right? So this means that the first Sun Tzu light up was for his own skill, and then the 3 other followed up is Sun Tzu is casting his fan shape true damage skill. So what does this mean? Total, we are seeing here we are seeing 5 red damage. 2 of them must be active skill damage. One of the skill is William Wallace's, the active skill follow-up 300 damage. So this is leaving us 2 other red numbers, which it's most likely that it was the Sun Tzu Prime's, this 400 damage factor proccing 2 times. It wasn't the true damage proc, because we can see that the green fan effect procced 3 times, and then Sun Tzu Prime's portrait also procced 3 times along with the fan effect, right? If these numbers were the true damage, then we would have seen at least 2 active skill plus the William Wallace's follow-up damage plus 3 true damage instances. So that means we would have seen at least 6 red damages in this case. Not to mention that there's a very high chance that the 400 damage must have procced there, right? So minimum, we might have seen another 1 or 2. Like it's like gonna be total at least 6 or 7 red numbers we would have seen in this video. So this actually highly indicates, I'm almost 100% certain that these red numbers that we see here is this small one is William Wallace's 300 damage factor, the extra damage. And then the other two number is 400 damage factor of Sun Tzu's instant proc damage. And we are not seeing the true damage proccing here. This means that the answer to this is true damage is not shown in the video. The answer is yes. The true damage we are not seeing in this video. The red numbers that we see here is all of the instant proc damages, and we don't see the true damage. This also indicates that a true damage hits 2 other targets, not primary. Sun Tzu Prime skill works is the true damage is hitting 2 other targets, not the primary. Okay, so in this skill description, I think Lilith is going to update this, not up to 2 enemies, but up to 2 other enemy troops. It does not hit the primary target. So this is how the Sun Tzu Prime's active skill is working. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that why this damage procced 3 times, right? Why this true damage procced 3 times? It is easy to answer. The first true damage is proccing off of Sun Tzu's active skill. And then that Sun Tzu's active skill is overlapped with the 400 damage right here. Because the skill only procs 1 times per second, it is either calculating the damage from the 3000 or the 400 damage factor. I hope that the actual, background coding prioritizes the active skill damage, the bigger skill damage, right? If it's getting prioritized by the small 400 damage factor right here, this is just a little bit troll, man. But I hope that it prioritizes the active skill. And the second true damage procced off of the William Wallace's active skill. And then the third one, maybe we're seeing fourth one. Third one procced off of the William Wallace's small 300 damage factor, which happens in the next turn, so it will proc true damage. And then the fourth one, maybe it tried to proc off of the 400 damage factor again. We may have seen 3 or 4 fan shapes. Okay, that explains. So it completely makes sense. In the video, true damage is not shown. So what does this mean? Is Sun Tzu Prime is going to be better than by GLC? Because now we actually don't know how the true damage is being calculated, because it's not shown in the video, right? We are not too sure how hard the true damage is hitting, because there are also 2 theories going around. First one is that the true damage is being calculated from this base damage, right? So because it's base, the true damage is gonna hit very, very not hard. It's gonna hit very less. Or the second theory is that the true damage is being calculated after all of the bonuses and skill. For example, Sun Tzu Prime skill damage is 3000. But after we add all of the bonuses, talents, boosts from formation, and KVK buff and everything, this 3000 damage factor almost goes like triples. It almost acts as if 9500 damage factor. So the second theory is the true damage is being calculated from the base 3000 damage factor or the increased amount? We are not sure. So answering this Sun Tzu Prime is better than by GLC question is a little bit tricky, but I managed to come to a conclusion with this. So what I did here was calculated the active skill damage per second of certain pairings. By GLC, Sun Tzu Prime by G, third Sun Tzu Prime William Wallace, Sun Tzu Prime LC, and William Wallace LC. So I have taken 5 pairings and I tried to calculate the active skill damage per second. And I assumed the worst case of scenario here. Worst case of scenario, which is true damage is being calculated from base damage factor. Okay, so this is the worst case of scenario. True damage is being calculated not from the increased amount, but the base damage factor. And here I'm simply trying to see which guy is doing the most amount of active skill damage, right? So I calculated the DM damage per second and came out with the rank. Okay, now I know some of you guys are gonna go into the comment section and it's like, yo, this is not gonna represent the actual damage per second. In order to calculate the actual damage per second, we gotta calculate the basic attack per turn, and then we gotta increase the basic attack based on the normal damage bonuses, and then we are adding them on top of the active skill damage, and then we are finally calculating the damage per second per skill cycle. I know that's how it should be done, but here I'm just trying to simplify things, and we are just trying to get the general idea of who is doing more damage, right? First case by GLC, the total damage is being divided by 7 because by GLC usually they cast their skill every 7 seconds. Sun Tzu Prime and Baichi also will cast their skill every 7 seconds. I already did the rage simulation right here, right? The fastest one is Sun Tzu Prime and LC. Sun Tzu Prime and LC will most likely very reliably hit that 6 seconds of a skill cycle, very fast. Just because Sun Tzu Prime, the active skills damage is 900 reduced, it's like basically we're shaving off entire 1 second. And then also Sun Tzu Prime does have a rage engine as well. So Sun Tzu Prime is basically casting his skill faster. And we have some good news. Again, guys, here I'm calculating the worst case of scenario of true damage, which is being calculated from the base damage, right? So this is, we are doing the least amount of damage. My calculation comes in rank 1 to 3. They are very, very close. Sun Tzu Prime paired with LC or Baichi is equal to Baichi LC. So what we are gonna expect in open field when Sun Tzu Prime actually comes in here is that if you pair Sun Tzu Prime with LC or Baichi, it is going to perform similar level to Baichi LC currently. So we know how Baichi LC performs right now, right? In fact, I assume that even though they are doing similar amount of damage per second, Sun Tzu Prime with LC or Sun Tzu Prime with Baichi might perform even slightly better. Part of the reason is Sun Tzu Prime just have better stats. Sun Tzu Prime is very tanky. He has so many stats. 20% HP, 30% attack, and another 20% defense and 10% damage reduction. We have so much tanky stats with Sun Tzu Prime. And on open field, tanky stat is quite important. This means that while Baichi LC is taking a lot of damage and then losing a lot of HP, and then when your HP is lower, your damage output is gonna go lower, right? But Sun Tzu is gonna tank that damage better, so Sun Tzu is going to preserve more HP when he's casting his skill. So in return, because Sun Tzu is tanky, he is gonna end up doing more damage on open field. So I predict that, I think, according to my calculation, Sun Tzu Prime and Sun Tzu Baichi is going to be minimum same as Baichi LC, if not better. All right, this is very good news, very good news. But this only applies when you are pairing Sun Tzu Prime with LC or Baichi. If you can see here, I also calculated Sun Tzu Prime, William Wallace here as well, and I compared William Wallace with LC, these two. So Sun Tzu Prime, William Wallace, we did exactly the same calculation. They are gonna perform similar level with William Wallace, LC. Again, because Sun Tzu Prime is tankier, they are most likely gonna perform slightly better. Remember, guys, how William Wallace and LC was performing on the field. We all know how William Wallace and LC performs. And William Wallace got replaced by Baichi like in an instant, and William Wallace is sitting on a bench, right? So Sun Tzu Prime and William Wallace is going to be similar level of William Wallace LC, but slightly better, right? That is also giving us a hint how Sun Tzu Prime and William Wallace is working. The reason why there is so much DPS difference in these two instances is we gotta remember what is the strength of Sun Tzu Prime. Sun Tzu Prime has a rage engine and he also casts his skill very, very fast, okay? So just like Qin Shi Huan, in order to take the Qin Shi Huan's full strength advantage of 4-second skill time, right? We are putting very high damage secondary to Qin Shi Huan. That's how we take advantage of Qin Shi Huan, so that he pumps up more damage. In order to take advantage of Sun Tzu Prime, we need to put high AoE, high skill damage secondary. That's how Sun Tzu Prime is shining. That means that two questions right here. Sun Tzu Prime is better than Bai Chi LC? Yes. Most likely on open field, in real life situation, they are going to craft better reports than Bai Chi LC they are doing right now. So this is actually good news. And then William Wallace is revived by Sun Tzu Prime. I would say, unfortunately, no. This is unfortunate. I think Lilith is trying to sell us William Wallace here by showing us a video of Sun Tzu and William Wallace working together. But yes, Sun Tzu Prime and William Wallace, they are gonna be performing slightly better than William Wallace Bai Chi. But then again, just like I mentioned, we are not really taking advantage of the Sun Tzu Prime's true strength, which is pairing him with either Bai Chi or LC. A very high skill damage commander secondary. And in the future, when there's more high damage factor commander comes in for infantry, you pair it with Sun Tzu Prime. And Sun Tzu Prime is gonna shine together with that high damage commander, right? So this is how we need to take advantage of Sun Tzu Prime. But there are some weird applications might be with William Wallace. All right, so let us talk about the conclusion here. And here, let's talk about the William Wallace case as well. In the conclusion, true damage hits two other target, not primary. I think this is very, very highly likely the case. And we are still not sure how the true damage is gonna be strong or not. If the true damage is going to be calculated from the base damage factor or after all of the bonuses and boosts, we still don't know. So that needs to get tested. Now the second conclusion is, right, Sun Tzu Prime, you pair him Bai Chi or LC, is going to be better than Bai Chi LC. In worst case of scenario. In my opinion, the best pair is going to be Sun Tzu Prime LC, in my opinion. Again, the Sun Tzu Prime Bai Chi or Sun Tzu Prime LC, they are almost equal. But the only reason why I prefer LC slightly better than Bai Chi is because LC applies 5 target slow effect on open field. And another good thing about Sun Tzu Prime and LC is they are reliably casting their skill every 6 seconds. As compared to Bai Chi, Sun Tzu, they are 7 seconds. So in my opinion, for just a single infantry march, Sun Tzu Prime with LC, I think is going to be the best option. Followed by Sun Tzu Prime Bai Chi is very, very close. Okay. Now, the third conclusion is Sun Tzu Prime is better paired with Nuke secondary. This is what we talked about. This is how we take advantage of this short skill cycle. So William Wallace is not really being the best option here. It's going to be either Bai Chi or LC. Fourth conclusion, Sun Tzu Prime is kind of like temporary reviving William Wallace. So for those who already have William Wallace, I know many players have invested into William Wallace when he first came out. You can still use Sun Tzu Prime with William Wallace and still use Bai Chi and LC. That is quite a decent option. So here could be an option, right? Sun Tzu Prime William Wallace is an option, and then Bai Chi LC. An option. Or what you can do is Sun Tzu Prime, Bai Chi, yes, and then William Wallace, LC. This also could be an option. If you are running 2 infantry march setup, you want to separate Sun Tzu Prime with LC because they both have the rage engine, and as we know, Smite talent tree does not have a rage engine. You want to separate them. Again, good news for William Wallace. I think you can use William Wallace. It's not the best option. But there's also one argument here, is that Sun Tzu Prime and William Wallace together, they might be an insane single target assassin march on open field with a little bit AoE element added to it. Again, if the true damage is performing good, this AoE element is going to be even better, right? Sun Tzu Prime William Wallace is gonna perform even better. There were comments in my YouTube comment section that some people actually prefer having like one single target, like assassin march in their march, because if you think about it, on an open field, if you get hit by Sun Tzu Prime and William Wallace, HP is gonna go down super fast into yellow territory, and then that means that yellow march is very, very less effective than the full full March, right? I don't think it is going to replace the current AoE damage meta, because overall, the more AoE damage you do, it's more damage factor you are causing for the enemy ball, which is why you are applying more pressure, right? I don't think it's going to be the meta right now, like having one assassin march in your rosters, right? But this could be like an interesting idea, and this might have applications in some situations. All right, so that is pretty much it. I hope this video is not too long. Man, it turns out to be much longer, man. Again, if you are new to the channel, subscribe. I will be posting the actual Sun Tzu Prime guide video based on mathematical calculation, all of the equipment and talents later on. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day, and peace.